Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we are going to talk about all of the books that I read in December 2025. If you're wondering why I look a little fancy tonight, it's because I'm filming this on New Year's Eve and we're literally about to walk out the door to go to our New Year's Eve party. So Happy New Year if this is probably posted, which it probably is tomorrow, the 1st. So hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve. This is also going to be sliced with my November TBR. So let's jump back in time to my November TBR, not TBR, my November wrap up because I forgot to post that one. So enjoy some of the books that I read in November. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we are doing a very delayed What I Read in November Recent Reads edition for 2025. Let's get into it. So I read quite a few things actually that I've really loved in the month of November. So let's talk about a few that I don't have in front of me, which were graphic novels. The first one was Off Menu. This essentially follows a character who goes up into a cooking competition against her rude, evil, messed up boss to try and essentially help with the state of the restaurant that she's currently grown up in and working at. This one was really cute. It gave really sentimental vibes. It was a good, cooking, which I always love. The art was adorable for this one. I thought this was a really good one. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend it to check it out. The next one that I ended up reading was Rebus, and this one's about a character who essentially is born with albinism in a world where witches are essentially outcast, demonized, and they run away from home and essentially come into contact with this community of witches and kind of become one of them in the community. I actually thought it was a really solid story. Some of the plot lines fell through a little bit for me near the end, but I really enjoyed it overall. I thought the art style of it was beautiful. I really liked this one, so 4 out of 5 stars for this one as well. And then the last one that I read was Hollow. This one essentially is about a town where a character moves to where there is essentially the town of, oh my gosh, what is it called? Sleepy Hollow. Everyone believes in the myth of Sleepy Hollow, and essentially this new character moves into town, has to solve the mystery that's going on with the legend of Sleepy Hollow that involves a lot of people within the town. I thought the dynamic was really cute. I thought the love story was kind of adorable. I thought the characters were really funny. I just enjoyed this one a lot. So out of this year, I think these were some of my top 3 favorite graphic novels that I read. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend them if you guys are in the market for some new graphic novels. Now, let's talk about the physical books that I read this month. So I think I read some of my favorite books of the year in November. I loved some of these. So let's start with my book club pick for the month. For those of you guys that don't know, I am in a monthly book club with some friends of mine, and we pick a book every month. Someone goes around and nominates the book that they want to choose, and then we all read it, which is great. And this month we nominated Kristin Hannah's The Great Alone. This essentially follows a family that moves up to Alaska in the 70s following the Vietnam War. The father in this was a POW in the Vietnam War, and essentially the main character, Lenny, really struggles with her father's PTSD, how that affects their family, what it's like living in very remote Alaska during the 70s, the camaraderie that she realizes within the neighborhood, the people that live around them, and how much they rely on each other. I love this. I think this is, at this point, my favorite Kristin Hannah that I think I've read, closely tied with The Nightingale, but this book is just so good. I think I read this in 2 or 3 sittings, and this is a chunky book, and I just love her writing. Kristin Hannah's always just one of those authors that just doesn't miss, and I'm obsessed. So 10 out of 10 if you haven't read this one by her, I would definitely recommend. Next, for our other book that we actually ended up reading for October, but I finished it in November, this is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This essentially follows a character named Alex Stern who is going to Harvard, Yale? Harvard. Harvard? Yale. So she's in Yale, and she's essentially been commissioned by people within Yale to help with the magic systems. This is pretty high fantasy. There is elements of this, especially in the beginning, that I found really confusing, and it kind of dumps you in the middle of the story, so there it takes a while for you to really kind of figure out what's going on within this world. I didn't love that, I'll be honest. So I think for this, there is kind of an element of kind of going in knowing that you're going to be a little blind for a while. You do end up uncovering a lot of things within it after a while within the story, but jumping it in initially for the first couple chapters, I was so lost. So keep that in mind. I do actually want to, I think, continue in this series. I liked it enough that I do want to see kind of where the story goes. But I definitely don't love it as much as I've loved some of the other things by Leigh Bardugo that I've read. I did not love the, oh my gosh, what is it called? I love the Six of Crows duology so much. That's by far my favorite thing by her. But some of her other stuff I haven't been as much of a fan of, this being one of them as well. So that being said, I will continue in the series, but wasn't top of my list from her. Next and last for this month, and probably the favorite book that I think for me of 2025, I genuinely think this is the best thing I've read this year. This was The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. I am so obsessed with this book. It was so good. I read it so slowly because I didn't want it to be over. This is one of those books that I just wanted to live in, truly. This I knew also was going to be a 5-star for me. I just had a good feeling about it. Essentially, it follows a girl named Ayla who is a phoenix keeper at a zoo. In a magical zoo with magical creatures, which is like everything I love in a book. Oh, it's so good. It's so atmospheric. You could see the zoo. You could see the creatures within the zoo. I want more in this world so desperately. Oh, I want more in this series so badly. I want this to be a series. It was just a standalone as of right now, I think, which makes me so sad because I loved it. Overall, it was adorable. I loved it. It was, I will say, a bit predictable. I'll admit it has some faults, but overall for me, the atmosphere, the world, everything within this book made it so good and so fun to read. It's so wholesome. It's so cozy. It could be a little shorter. Again, it has some flaws, but I loved it. I really, really, really loved it. I definitely think this is one of my favorite books from 2025. Highly, 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 highly recommend. All right, friends, so that is everything that I read in the month of November. This was a pretty solid reading month for me, I think, reading some of my favorite books from the year. I'm excited about it, but overall, I would love to know what you read in the month of November, so let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! All right, welcome back to December. Again, these are the 5, I can count, 6 books that I read in December of this year. I was really bad about reading this month. If you guys watch any of my Vlogmases, you guys know I didn't read for pretty much the first 3 weeks of the year. So all 6 of these were pretty much done in the last 2 weeks of December. So let's talk about them. The first one that I read, which you guys, if you saw my Vlogmas videos, will know about this one, is The Heart of Christmas by Sophie Jomain. I did not like this book. It's a terrible book. It has terrible ratings on Goodreads. It literally reads like it was written by ChatGPT. I did find out this was a translated work, but regardless, it's still a really terrible book. So yeah, hopefully if you guys read it, I loved the concept of it. Essentially, it was an Advent book where every day you open up a piece or a section of the book to read. That being said, the storyline still didn't do it for me. It basically follows a girl who recently had heart surgery and is coming to stay with her dad up in the Alps for Christmas kind of getaway and trying to just learn to find herself. She ends up rekindling or like re-meeting up with her best friend's brother. You can imagine how that goes. But yeah, overall, this was just really predictable to me. The writing of this was just very repetitive and just not very good. So yeah, this one for me, I think was a 2 out of 5 stars. Next, I read B.K. Borison's Good Spirits. This was actually my first book by B.K. Borison. I will definitely be picking up more. This essentially follows a girl named Harriet who gets selected by the Scrooge team or the Christmas team to essentially be picked as a Scrooge for the Ghost of Christmas Past, whose name is Nolan. They end up kindling a romance, and this was actually really cute. It took me a sec to get into this, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited for the second book in the series that's coming out next year. So I think I will also definitely be picking up from B.K. Borison because she writes a good romance. Next, I read a book by Mary Kay Andrews, who I've never read from before as well, so excited about that. This was a quick novella called The Santa Suit that came out, I think, in 2021. This essentially follows a woman who moves, Ivy Perkins, who moves to a house called the Four Roses. It's an old farmhouse. She needs a fresh start. She just got divorced, and essentially this felt like a Hallmark movie. I actually really ended up enjoying this because it was very short and sweet, but had all the elements of a great Christmas novella. Like, it read like a Hallmark movie. She meets a guy who's her real estate agent. She basically just connects with some beautiful characters within this small town of this place that she moves to, and it just felt very nostalgic and very cute and very warm. So yeah, I would say if you guys haven't picked this one up, definitely check it out. Then let's talk about the 3 books that I read for my end of year series for 2024. I think these will probably go pretty close together, so if you've watched that video, you've probably seen me talk about all 3 of these. But the first one I read was The Christmas Tree That Loved to Dance, A Tall Tale by Miranda Hart. This was really cute. It's just a short and sweet kind of illustrated work following this woman who wants to save Christmas trees. It's actually really cute and went in a direction I did not expect. I didn't love the storyline per se, but it was a cute concept and just kind of a warm and fuzzy read that I read in probably like 20 minutes. So this one was cute if you want to check it out for next holiday season. And then I also finally got The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand off of my TBR. I remember Book Talk being obsessed with this book, or even BookTube, let's go back even farther. Back in the day, people were obsessed with this book, so I really was excited to finally read it and get through it. It does read pretty quick. I did enjoy it. The main character, Holly, essentially is Scrooge in her life that basically fails to change, and then she dies. And she wakes up in the department of essentially Christmas past, future, and present to be the Ghost of Christmas Past herself. So I actually really liked this. The direction, again, with this one as well went in a different way that I expected, especially the ending, but I actually really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It still wasn't my favorite Christmas book that I read this year, but I definitely recommend picking it up. It definitely has the tone of YA, and I think I'm just realizing more and more I'm not a YA girly anymore. So we'll get to that for a very soon video talking about my plans for 2026 reading. But regardless, I do think this one is cute. If you have a YA reader in your life, I would definitely recommend this one for next year. And the last thing that I read for this year to wrap up the holiday season and 2025 was Kringle by Tony Abbott. This essentially is a retelling of Kris Kringle and how he came to be. This ended up being really cute. It read like a fairy tale, which I loved. It had a really great cast of characters that were really visceral and has really cute animations, pictures throughout, which really helped. This is definitely geared towards more of a middle grade audience, but I love a fantasy, like, fairy tale-esque type of story with a fun narrator as well who really brings you in. And so this one definitely had all of those elements. I really enjoyed it. I think this came out a really long time ago, so you might have some trouble tracking it down, but regardless, this one was really good as well. 4 out of 5 stars. All right, friends, so that is everything that I read in November and December of this end of the year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and Happy New Year. I'm gonna go celebrate with my friends and family, and I will see you guys next year. Bye.